Welcome to episode 4 of Debunk's Unfiltered podcast. Here the mics are always hot. This week we take on a big subject matter, child abuse. The cases in the country have been on a sharp rise over the years. On the show today, Campaigns Officer Equality Now Florence Machio, our resident data scientist Juliet Atella, super creative Kolo the Prince, and I, your host Patrick Gatua, bringing you all their unfiltered opinions to the table.
My name is Florence Machio. I'm a Campaigns Officer Africa for Equality Now. Equality Now is an international women's rights organization.
Oh, we have many guests. I didn't know I was a guest, but my name is Collins. You can call me the Prince, creative, Debunk Media.
My name is Juliet. I'm a data analyst and a statistician and also investigative journalist. Oh my God, yeah. So I am working with Debunk as well as the Elephant.info.
All right, so let's just get straight into the conversation. The counties have been closed, the country has been closed, education has been put at a standstill. And kids at home, they're idle, especially for the girl child. It can be a bit unsafe. We've seen numbers rise in different counties, especially in terms of being lured into sexual conduct, thanks to, some of them want sanitary pads and everything like that. But I'd love to hear your opinions. So where are we with it?
Okay, for me, first of all, I don't like the way you phrase that statement. The girl child is being lured. There's no for being lured here, because for someone to get pregnant, that means there was a man involved.
Thank you.
So let's not this blame shifting that men like to do. Oh, girls do this. There's not for girls. They don't get pregnant by themselves. Someone has to get a chick pregnant. So you can't just say girls are being lured. Being lured how? I know there's a different conversation for the fact that some of them have to do what they have to do because of sanitary towels. And these I want to challenge the government. I do not understand how in 2020 you can give condoms for free and sanitary towels you're selling. That is just nuts. So we need to also look into that. The government needs to look into that.
Yes, I mean, from the aspect of sex itself, just from the definition, it has to be either two people or more than two people being involved. And like Kolo has said, when you sort of like lean onto just one side and blaming it onto now the lady, or rather the girl who's sort of like involved into this, victimizing her as well, and the aspect of just she's pregnant at 12-year-old. A 12-year-old gotten pregnant because of maybe a relative or maybe because she lacked something and she needed to trade it in with. And it's a conversation that actually need to be normalized in the essence that how do we perceive this conversation? Do we even talk about sex in general without the fear of quote unquote, we shouldn't even say sex.
What's the problem? Is it that our kids in a position of they're not empowered to say no?
There's so many things that happen. The law says anybody below 18 is a child. Children's Act is very clear.
Yeah.
That means if you're going to have sex with a child, you have defiled them.
Yeah.
So that's a crime. So any child who's pregnant right now, that's a criminal investigation that should be going on. And I know you heard what the president said to the National Crimes and Research Center to find out who is behind the pregnancies. These are specifically for teen pregnancy. So I don't want to call them teen pregnancy. Those are just defilements that there's a law. So that if whoever slept with you, whether it's the father, the uncle, then they're supposed to be liable and be in jail as we speak. So there's that aspect. Then you asked about access to information. I'll give you just one story. I had a conversation with young people around Africa, and Kenya was also involved. And it was conversations in 25 schools in Africa. And the child is in Kenya. She's 16. So she says, I was raped when I was in class 8, and this has really affected me in my education. What can I do to avoid this stress? Another one who's 13 is saying, mbona wanaume wanapenda kurepu watoto wadogo? She's 13. Another one says, if your dad has been sleeping with you since the age of 6 to 9 and your mother randomly, ignore the grammar. This is just exactly how they wrote it. Then you happen to escape from his house. Now you have grown big Can I kill my dad when I meet him again? So these are real stories of real children. And this child could be pregnant, right? This 17-year-old could be pregnant. This 16-year-old could be pregnant when they are raped. And so the pregnancies we are seeing could come from anywhere. If we are in lockdown, it means I'm not meeting my friend. So the likelihood of a boyfriend having impregnated is very minimal. I keep on saying that will be probably 10% or less. The rest of the percentage will be involving an adult. It will be a father. It will be an uncle. I had a case of a grandfather who violated 2 of his own grandchildren, 8 and 11. So if these cases are going on, then our numbers will stay where they are. These pregnancies will be insensual pregnancies. And because we have not put systems in place, when we allow a child who is 12, who is 14, to carry a pregnancy of her father, to carry a pregnancy of her uncle, to carry a pregnancy of her grandfather, what are you doing to this child? And so we will all scream, they cannot say no, they have no information to say no. That's another problem. Now, when it comes to access to information, we as a country have battled with the issue of comprehensive sex education.
Yeah.
We have said, oh no, they will be taught how to have sex. My problem is, I'd rather this child knows even the body parts. I'd rather this child knows that somebody should not touch me. It doesn't matter if they're my grandfather. You know, in the rural areas where a grandfather's house is there, your house is there. So when your child says, I'm going to see granddad, or when your father calls your children, you don't say no. So these children would go to the grandfather's house. You assume, that he's telling them stories or whatever. But he would tell them, show me your breasts and I'll show you mine. So of course, that's not so bad. So, but his breasts were his balls. So he would show them, he would say, these are my breasts. Boys have breasts here and girls have breasts here. And he would tell them, I will suck your breasts, you will suck my breasts. Wow. So these children, when they started getting mouth ulcers, they started having herpes and everything. Yeah. When their mother took them to hospital, that's when they explained what we've been sucking Babu's breasts. But it didn't even click what that means. Yeah. Then where is Babu's breast? So a counselor asked, where is Babu's breast? And she pointed at somebody's trousers. So that's when they connected the dots. So for me, comprehensive sex education is as simple as these are balls, this is a penis, this is a vagina. It is as basic as that. Why? Because somebody will use the ignorance of a child to manipulate them.
All right, so I'll stop you there, Collins. First of all, I know, absorb everything you've heard. And then now, let's hear your opinion.
Honestly, I really cannot believe I'm hearing this. I honestly cannot believe, because this is this is someone who's supposed to keep you safe. This is your father. If you cannot trust your own father, I don't know I don't know where we're going. I mean, this is crazy. This is nuts. When she was talking about grandfather, because I also thought about my grandfather. We used to hang out with my grandfather when we were children, all of us. And I cannot even fathom. Like, it's just nuts. But the issue of sex education in schools, I mean, we are like a decade too late to implement that. Yeah. And I don't know why people are always against that stuff. Because it is what is happening. You cannot turn back the hands of time. It's not 1991 anymore. We are way past that. Now it's the time to teach people how to deal with these issues.
And the first thing, I like what you've said, basically saying that you can't fathom it's your grandfather doing this. But what you should also know, it's not just about the girl child. Boys are also, boys are also suffering.
No, I was getting to that.
All right.
I was getting to that issue. Now,
that's a fact.
The boy child is also involved. And for me personally, I think, and I love this, because for me personally, I'm a product of the girl child. Single mom. I was raised by my mother, my aunties. Like, those are the people who really raised me, I've lived with them, all that. But I honestly think also, as a society, we also need to focus on the boy child a little bit more, because we started this girl child empowerment, and it's a beautiful thing. We are, I think, guys, for the early 90s, we were the first products of the empowered woman. When they started, it was not a must. They get married, all that. We are one of the products. Like, for me personally, I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing to empower your ladies, because now I can see my sister is working, she's living by herself. It's a good, it's something nice to know that she doesn't need to depend on anyone. But when you have a cause, there's also an effect. Now the effect of that is that the society has produced fabulous women, strong women, but now men have not been taught how to handle that. Now we have men who have no idea how to deal with this woman. You've had these dynamics at you because she's making more money than you. Now you cannot be in a relationship, or you can.
Your ego.
It all stems from that, because now she's empowered, but you've not been taught how to deal with her.
Because I know how to be a woman. I know how to raise a girl to be a woman.
Yeah.
I know when to tell her your periods will come. I know how to tell her about her hormones because I have experienced it. You are a man. You know what it is to be a boy. I'm a mother of 2 boys.
Yes.
And I keep on pushing them towards their dad because their dad is a man. And therefore, even when he is not comfortable having some conversations, he has to. Because when they hear from me, it will be a female perspective.
Okay.
When they hear from a man, it will be a man's perspective. A man will tell them about wet dreams.
Right.
I don't know about wet dreams.
I think if you just look from the historical perspective, just a parent just talking to you about sex from the beginning, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I guess, again, from generational point of view, I'll say maybe baby boomers, they will find it so hard to even a parent sit down with a child and talk about sex.
Yeah.
Just the fact that right now I'll tell you, I went to a hospital and I was talking about I went to donate blood, and I found this woman at KNH, and she told me I can't donate blood because I'm about to have my monthly periods. And so she was even scared of saying monthly periods. Already, that's period shaming. She was like, no, you shouldn't talk about monthly periods in a professional setting like this.
Right.
I'm like, why? I'm a woman, you're a woman. And people around here, they know about monthly periods. So you see, if we go back, already talking about such stuff, it's already an issue.
Okay.
I'll say probably the way society has put it. And when I mean society, I mean people around us, the environment in which we're growing up in. So our background bring about the aspect of, like she has said, she's comfortable talking about stuff that she can relate with to a lady.
All right, great. And that's all acceptable. But you've also put out the point that we are in a generation of, it's a digital generation. What our children get access to, the phones and everything. This is another conversation. Florence, what our kids are actually being exposed to when it comes to music. And I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm not pointing fingers because I know there's a fan of Gengeton here, and that's Collins.
I am a fan too.
And she's a fan, and you might have heard the music. It's also very suggestive.
I'm not that old.
Okay.
You might have heard.
She is definitely.
And the fact that you've heard this music, it's very suggestive. And the fact that kids are getting access to this, how does policy come in? We also need to think about that.
Okay, I think for me, the thing is, we've been raised up in a way that we do not respect women.
Okay.
Because we do not respect women, even our words, even our conversation, even the way we treat women, even when we sexualize women in our songs, it shows. What you hear in the songs that overly sexualize women comes from how we've raised our children, not to respect women.
Right.
And because of that, the result is this music that you're seeing. So you can put a policy there. But if you're not raising up children to respect each other's gender, to not, for example, I could tell you, we're having so many Zoom meetings, right? And you'll find a panelist say, we're going to call the beautiful Juliet or the beautiful to respond. Never will you hear say the handsome. And you might feel like, she should be grateful she was called beautiful. Even those undertones, we don't look at them. That is why sexual harassment becomes an easy thing. You get into a matatu, you sit down, somebody touches your boobs, touches your bum, and if you complain, there's a problem. Connie, what's wrong with you? Yet the problem is with them. So we have normalized sexualization and objectification of women such that when a song shows up, sasa wanajam nini hao ni wazee. No. If you look at it keenly, you realize it is not taking you where we want to go.
Right.
And where we want to go is a society that both men and women feel safe. I cannot walk with my miniskirt and be troubled. It should be okay. After all, we never used to wear clothes anyway. So when we talk about Western ideologies, we should also factor in we should be walking around naked with leaves or something.
All right,
Anyway,
I'll catch you
moving
in
on
there. Julian.
I just wanted to add on to Florence' point in the aspect of, just right now, let's just be clear on this. Imagine you guys when you woke up and you're like, natoka nje naenda, I'm coming to this place. Were you like, did you look at yourself in the mirror and say, this dress, probably the type of clothing that I've worn will probably lead to someone saying something? To you guys, have you ever had that thought?
Okay, no,
I don't
nah.
even look at myself in the mirror.
So you see,
It's for dressing and
I'll say that's a privilege. But as women, sometimes even how you literally have to wear or how you perceive yourself or just your dress code, the moment you step out of that house, personally, I have to be on earphones almost all the time because the rate at which guys will start calling you, doing silly stuff at you is literally pacing.
All right. So no,
And France actually put a law on catcalling.
yes.
You guys would not understand how invasive catcalling is.
Thank you.
But we get it because it bothers us. And if it bothers me, it should be a problem to you as well.
All right.
Who is doing it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have this policy, and I'm bringing Collins into this policy, and I'm going back to the girl to the teens, and especially our young girls who might get pregnant, might be taken advantage of. So this policy is there. It's being fought by people in parliament.
You're talking about the reproductive health?
Yeah, the reproductive health. Yes.
It has so many components. It's not just...
Yeah,
continue.
I do.
Family planning.
I do understand that there is a lot of components, but there was one very heated debate we had in the office, and we're looking definitely at the right. Should, in the event, and God forbid, a girl was taken advantage of, should they terminate that pregnancy?
He can respond, then
Yeah.
I'll respond.
Yeah.
How you want me.
Yeah, no, I want Collins to respond.
Collins,
because-
please respond.
Okay, for me, honestly, and this is one thing, and I'll say this with all the conviction on this planet, that men, we have failed in that sector. Because first of all, we cannot be legislating on things we do not understand. When someone is telling you they're in their cramps, Juliet would know. Florence would know. Me, I know nothing about menstrual cramps. So if she has a problem with it, it is her to say that, this should be done this way, because she knows what she's talking about. Me, as a man, I cannot clear stories for...
You don't. You've never experienced.
So for this, me, I'm parliament. Men, please stay out of the way. Abortion, people... At Kenya, we are a Christian country. Guys are saying we are a Christian country.
And we raped our children.
You cannot be a Christian country and your grandfather is impregnating a grandchild. So that is out of the window. You're stealing COVID money. There's no for Christian country here. So let's just get that out of the way. Now, abortion
Preach it, my
should
brother.
be a choice of the woman. And I mean the
Right.
woman and the woman alone. Because you cannot tell someone who's been impregnated by their father to keep that... What kind of life do you think this person is going to live?
Keep your grandfather's child. How do you...
I mean, that is just crazy. And the fact that it is men who are preaching out, they're shouting in their suits, no abortion. It's fucking nuts. So, please, when it comes to a woman's body, it is their right. It is their choice for them to decide what they want to do with their body.
All right.
Unless it's, I don't know. I don't even see
So
a
I stop
scenario.
you there, Florence.
As a state,
Yes.
Kenya, we are signatory to the Maputo Protocol, which has the most advanced rights for women in the whole world. It's better than CEDAW.
Okay.
It has been lauded as the best instrument. It provides for access to abortion in matters incest, in matters rape. It's very clear, incest especially, it's very clear. So when we sign up to these international instruments and international treaty, based on our constitution, we are supposed to domesticate. So it's not coming out of a vacuum. We are not signed. And then we cannot always be having reservations when it comes to women's bodies.
Yeah.
And the majority of leadership within parliament, within policy-making positions are men. So when you find a lot of objection, it's because of the patriarchal nature of the society the way it is. So incest, violation, which is just too much. If the person chooses to terminate a pregnancy, that is a choice they should be given. So that they say, okay, I'll carry a pregnancy and give it away and give the baby away. Or I cannot. That in itself is psychological trauma. You walking around with your grandfather's pregnancy. It's in itself. In fact, if you are cancelled, you will say, this is too much for me because it's difficult to deal with.
But I'll cut you short a bit.
Yeah.
This whole thing that has been tabled.
Yes.
It has the requirements, like the requirements that would allow you to terminate
yes.
a pregnancy.
It is not just you'll wake up one day and terminate.
I understand.
We are always dealing with the WHO definition. Even
Yes.
using COVID, we are using the WHO
Yes, we are.
WHO's definition is very clear that the well-being of a mother is not merely the absence of infirmity or disease. It's around social. Social is a lot. Where is the environment that this girl lives? Who is supporting her? Is there even support structures? Number 2, mental well-being. You've been violated by your own grandfather. Even you've been raped by a stranger. I know of a friend who was raped and it has taken her 10 years to heal. 10 of constant counseling. And it will cost you more to counsel a person who's been violated.
And that's great to hear.
Yes.
Now, before I come to you, Juliet, Collins is very silent. I want Collins to talk. Should this bill that has been tabled, should it pass? Should our legislators, get it right this time and think about the girl child? Think about the reproductive health system that we have for both genders, not just the girl child, but also for the male child.
Okay, personally, I feel like it should. And I know sometimes they're saying that abortion under certain circumstances. Honestly, I don't believe a woman can get pregnant in a relationship, let's say in a stable relationship, and just wake up one morning and decide, you know what? No, I need to terminate this pregnancy. For me, abortion should just be someone's personal choice. No one should be there to tell you, you need to do it under this or under this account. Because I don't believe someone can just wake up. You are married, you did everything right, you get pregnant, and you just decide one day to wake up and just go and terminate this pregnancy. And, even as we're having this abortion discussion right now, we are way past that. I don't know why, as Kenyans, we are always behind. Because whether we acknowledge it or not, it is happening. The best way to deal with it is to create measures so that it's safe, so that people don't die. Because whether we agree or we do not agree, whether we hide our heads in the sand, it is happening.
I did an interview of 25 women.
Yes.
Asking them why they chose abortion. Just to shed light, because we've never had the perspective of the woman who has had to undergo.
Yes.
And I chose 5. One of them was a woman who was married. This is a married woman. It's not an issue of poverty or anything. She got pregnant. She had 2 deaf and dumb children, and then she got pregnant. And so when she got pregnant, she was happy with her pregnancy. She said, children are a gift from God. Whichever way they come, they come. The husband, when he realized the wife was pregnant, took her one day. His brother is a clinical officer. Took her to the clinical officer's office. Let's go visit my brother. So, of course, she didn't know what was going to go on. When she got to the reception, it was a Sunday. She was given an injection on the arm. She woke up when she was not pregnant. An abortion had been performed on her, courtesy of her husband. So that's one way people. So even as we scream, there are different reasons or ways that abortion occurs. Number 2, this is a woman who had 2 children. She has no job. Her husband had been arrested. And so she's alone. And now she's pregnant. She was on a contraceptive method. But that method was not working. Why was it not working? When you go to a government hospital right now as a woman, maybe my pills work for me. Maybe an injection works for her. Maybe I need tubal ligation. Maybe I need any other method.
Yes.
But I need to find a method that works for me because not all methods work for us. What works for me will not work for her. But then you get to a government hospital and the method you get does not work for you, but unaambiwa hii ndio iko. So because of contraceptive failure, she got pregnant. Yes. And this woman was so adamant, I'm not going to get a baby. She went to the back streets. A woman inserted a wire to rupture the uterus. She went home. She was told, you will start bleeding. When you start bleeding, make some glucose. And she doesn't have glucose, so put concentrated sugar and drink for energy. And then she was given some dawa to expel the pregnancy. Yes. In the middle of the night, she started having contract. Of course, she couldn't go to hospital. Yeah. She pulled out the baby herself. So I asked her, why did you didn't think you were going to die? She said, in fact, the baby even came out with the legs. She said, I knew I could die, but I said I'd rather die trying than carry this pregnancy.
Okay.
Another girl, this is a Muslim girl. Yes, the last one. You need to see this to understand the reason behind. Another girl who's a Muslim, raised to remain a virgin until you get married. Hapa tu easily. So she's walking home. A friend had lost the father, kaenda matanga. It was 6 p.m. She was getting home. She was going to get home before 6:30. So she passed her chochoro. 3 men waylaid her and violated her. She didn't go to hospital. She went home. She showered. She sat. Months later, she's pregnant. Then a friend tells her, first of all, she says, my father will kill me. In our religion, we are not allowed. Even if I explain, they won't understand. Therefore, she got some backstreet concoction, started drinking, started bleeding. So even by the time I'm interviewing her, she has no idea the state of her uterus, having taken whatever concoction. She was just clear, I will be killed by my father. All these people I have given you are making a decision for society. They are not making a decision for themselves. If these people had been supported, if this girl found an environment where I can say, I was raped and not judged, because you'll be told, where were you at this particular time? Why were you walking? The blame for even violation is up to you as a woman. This other woman who wanted to carry a pregnancy, her husband insists you will not carry a pregnancy. And there are many people in this Nairobi whose husbands tell them, have I condom? The men don't wear condom, they don't do vasectomy, and they tell you if you get pregnant, utalea mtoto peke yako.
All right.
Not because they're poverty, just because.
Okay.
So women sometimes are bought for the sake of society. If it is in church, I don't want people to see me, therefore. I'd rather people don't see, because the sexual sins evidence is a pregnancy.
Yes.
The boy has nothing to show. It is me who has everything to show. Yes.
All right. So now I want to wind it up, and I really want to hear each person's opinion. So what's the way forward, Collins?
The way forward, like I said, and I'll keep repeating this again and again. When it comes to the issue of abortion, let me start with that. It's up to the woman. It's her choice. Let her do whatever she has to do, because I'm sure there's a reason, whatever. You don't need to understand someone's point of view. But I believe people don't just do it for the sake of doing it. There's a reason, whether it's societal, as they said, which for me, I feel it may not be right, but sometimes where are the lines between right and wrong? Yeah, in a situation like that, like where she said her father would kill her, where do you draw the line between right?
All right, so you're of the opinion that
abortion should be a choice of the woman, and men should stay off that topic because we do not understand what you're talking about. On the issue of the pregnancy and defilement of children, I want to talk to my fellow men, because these children are children. This is someone's sister. This is someone's cousin. This could be your sister. You know, even sometimes when my sister calls me and she's like, I'm taking an Uber from point A to point B, I'm worried. Why? Because she's alone. If I was there, I wouldn't be worried, because I would be there.
Preach.
But if it's just her by herself, and it's even 8 p.m. and she's like, I'm taking an Uber from Junction to my house, that is a distance of like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But you don't know what could happen in between. Because I've also heard about women getting into Ubers and never making it home, or getting home and they've been done for something. So please, as men, let me just appeal to my fellow brothers, my fathers, my cousins. Please take care of our women. That is all I can say, because I know they don't feel safe. If Juliet was to leave here at 9 p.m. and walk to the office, I'm sure she'd have a lot of thoughts in her mind before she gets. But for us guys, it's
Understood. Juliet, your opinion.
First of all, let me just state by the numbers in terms of defilement. If you look at Economic Survey 2020, and you look at the reported cases in terms of types of immorality and under defilement, the numbers have been increasing on the men's side. Men who have been reported for defilement. And if you look at the years in between, 2017 going up to 2018, it has been on the rise, like 4 times the previous year. So let's say like in 2018, the total number of cases reported were more than 5,000 male with respect to female. So my in this case, I'll just say that yes, society has made men to see us women as, okay, men are virtual creatures, and when they see a woman, they undress her, right? And I think there's that aspect of, am I lying, Florence?
No, continue.
They undress us.
Yeah.
And personally, I feel that one thing is background. Parents have a role, huge role, be it male or female. We need to educate our girls and our young men who are growing and tell them, speak about sex. Talk to them about sex. Tell them so that they know. That's one thing. And tell them also the consequences of sex. You see, so when someone comes from the aspect of knowledge, knowing, they know what they're involving themselves into. And to me, I think that sex should be consent, and consent to me is very sexy. And when you do it against someone's will, even stealthing is wrong. People don't understand that stealthing is wrong just because we've decided to wear a condom, and then at the end of the day, you remove the condom without me knowing. That's rape, which I'm pretty sure so many people don't know about that. So you see, these small little issues that people don't see and ignore, it really affects us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Finally, Florence, your opinion. The sanity.
All right, so we have the Sexual Offences Act. Let it do its work. Let's remove the blame from the victim. Take it back to the perpetrator. If we were seeing, let's say, 4,000 girls pregnant, and we were shining a spotlight on 4,000 perpetrators, then something will happen. If we start seeing a TAC data, you go to the website, you see these are the teachers who are pedophiles, therefore they've been disbanded from TAC, therefore they cannot even be in any private school. We will start seeing something. If we start seeing that in your neighborhood there's a pedophile who has moved, then you know how to protect your child. Let's shine a spotlight on the perpetrators and stop putting the blame on the children. Because I know Kajiado County the other day says Funga Miguu campaign. Funga Miguu means the girls should funga miguu. What about the men? Why are they dropping their trousers? Why not that? Why not put our focus on the person who is making the injury as opposed to the person who is injured? When it comes to teenage pregnancies, it is important for us to know the reasons behind them. And knowing the reasons behind them, one of the biggest one being defilement, we'll be able to protect our children. Comprehensive sex education is also critical. But even as it is critical, it is important that then parents get involved. You cannot be shy. You cannot shy away from talking to your child. It doesn't matter how hard it is, because if you don't, somebody else, including your brother, including your grandmother, will do grandmother even. In Makueni, I think I saw a boy reporting the mother trying to violate them since their father died. So all these things, if we are not going to talk to our children, school level, in tandem with the religion as well, the religious leaders on the pulpit, talk about these things. So to stop just condemning, talk about these things at the pulpit. And at home, parents talk about it. So if we are doing school, we're doing church or mosque, and then we are doing at home, then we are going to start seeing a shift and stop blaming the children. Then number 3, the Ministry of Education, when Moi Girls happened, you remember the case that happened in Moi Girls? There was a policy that people helped to develop around securing schools, around ensuring that there are safe spaces for people to speak up. Because if something happens at home, who do I tell? If people at home are going to cover up, isn't then the school a better place for me to now speak up and for the dots to be connected for me to get help? Instead of me walking around with a venereal disease and it's my father who's giving me that disease. So all these things need to be put in place. When we are putting budgets, let's remember that these budgets need to be in tandem with the beautiful policies that we have, because we have beautiful policies. But without resources, we will not be able to implement. In fact, lastly, the reason why we are not getting perpetrators is because the police are not resourced. If we have a special sex crimes unit that is focused on investigate, they can know the finer details. Then we'll be getting more perpetrators, because most cases do not even survive because of poor investigations. Yes. We don't even have a forensics lab. Therefore, DNA samples can be collected. So a guy lives in Nairobi, goes to Machakos, goes to Busia, does the same thing. Nobody is able to trace that this guy has violated children in all these places. So if we invest in a forensic lab, a sex crimes unit, and make sure we resource our police, I think we will start getting somewhere. And once the perpetrators know something is happening, maybe we'll start seeing a shift.
All right.
And also, Florence, do you think media should play a role as well?
Definitely. These conversations are critical, but also the most important thing is factual information.
Yes.
When you start seeing the church saying A and the fact is B, please remind people that it is B.
Yes.
Because I know sometimes we like screaming based on our interest, but we forget the facts. And the facts are so clear. The facts are our children are being raped by their fathers, uncles, teachers, but nothing is being done. And so we are faced with a baby at the end. So we are constantly mopping the floor and leaving the tap open, yet we should be closing the tap.
And that brings us to the end of the show. We've been having Campaign Officer Equality Now, Florence Machio, our resident data scientist, Julieta Teller, super creative Kolo the Prince, and I, your host, Chik Gatua. Until next time, this is Unfiltered.